Welcome to NHL Draft Pros. In this video, we are going to go over the Community Mock Draft Part 2 and see who we voted for from picks 11 to number 20. If you'd like to join us in the Community Mock Draft, please subscribe and like the video to help the channel grow. If you go to the homepage, you can join us by hitting the community button and you'll see all the different picks that you can vote on. All right, so before we go into picks 11 through 20, I want to go over what we had for our first round, the first 10 picks. So we picked Shane Wright, number 1 to Montreal, Juraj Slafkovsky, number 2 to New Jersey, Logan Cooley, number 3 to Arizona, Simon Nemec to Seattle at number 4, the number 5, David Jiricek to the Philadelphia Flyers. At 6th, we chose Matthew Savoy to the Columbus Blue Jackets, 7, Kemmel to the Ottawa Senators. Brad Lambert went to the Detroit Red Wings at number 8. We chose Frank Nazar at number 9 to the Buffalo Sabres, and Jonathan Lekkerimäki to the Anaheim Ducks at number 10. All right, so let's see what happened for the next 10 picks. So at number 11, the San Jose Sharks have their pick. Last year, they picked up William Eklund with their first round pick, who's a great little player. So let's see what the community said, and we decided to go with Conor Geekie. 38% of the votes. Actually, Cutter Gauthier was pretty close there with 26% of the votes. But the community voted, and they decided to go with Conor Geekie. So let's look at his NHL draft rankings. Central Scouting had him at number 5 for North American skaters. TSN Bob McKenzie had him at 10. Sportsnet at 10. McKean's at 8. So he had some pretty high rankings there. This year he had 70 points in 63 games with the Winnipeg Ice in the WHL. So some pretty decent numbers. And if we look at Corey Pronman from The Athletic, in his mock draft, he had Conor Geekie at number 12. So we missed him by 1. Crane Hook 47 said, I think it'll come down to Korchinski or Mintyukov. Reason being that while having a potential plethora of forwards available, San Jose may lean towards a D-man as next year's draft is forward heavy and half their blue line is aging and expensive. I agree with that. So the community has decided, and Conor Geekie is going to the San Jose Sharks at number 11. All right, next up are the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is their second pick of the first round. Last year, they had 3 first-rounders, and they picked up Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger, and Corson Kuhlman. So a really nice draft last year. So what did the community decide this year? They decided to go with Cutter Gauthier. What a nice pickup here. 54% of the vote, so that's a pretty big number. And if we look at his rankings, Central Scouting has him at number 3 for North American skaters, so pretty high. TSN Craig Button has him at number 6 overall. Wow. Sportsnet at 11. So you know what? We'd lucked out if we got him at number 12 here. And if you look at his numbers, 65 points in 54 games with 34 goals. This kid can shoot the puck. And McKean's Hockey had him at number 13 to the Islanders, so we were close again. TD says, if Cutter drops to 12, I would be ecstatic. And Evan says, a loaded offense isn't so bad, and forwards take less time to develop. Might be Gauthier if Columbus wants to win sooner than later. There you go. So a nice pickup for the Columbus Blue Jackets at number 12, Cutter Gauthier. All right, the Islanders are picking next at number 13, and they haven't had a first-round pick the last 2 drafts, so they're looking to make a splash, and the community has voted, and we picked up Pavel Mintyukov, 34%. This one was the closest one so far. Marco Kasper was a close second with 32% of the vote. So this one was close. So we decided to go with the offensive defenseman in Pavel Mintyukov, and Central Scouting has him at number 6 for North American skaters. TSN Bob McKenzie had him at 16, Sportsnet at 13, McKean's at 13 also, and Elite Prospects as high as number 7. Wow. And if you look at his CHL points per game among defensemen this past year, he's actually 3rd in the league in the entire CHL with .93 points per game. 67 games, 62 points, not bad at all. And if we look at the NHL.com, they had him at number 11. SP says, in this spot, if Lambert, Nazar, Lekkerimäki, Gauthier, and the like are taken, the last resort will be a defenseman, since Pavel Mintyukov has the most potential. In my opinion, out of any defense outside of Jiricek and Nemec, I'd take Pavel in this spot, and that's who we chose. What a nice pickup at number 13 for the New York Islanders, Pavel Mintyukov. Winnipeg Jets are going to be selecting Marco Kasper. Wow, what a pickup. NHL Central Scouting has him at number 5 for international skaters. McKean's has him at 15, Sportsnet at 14, so right around this range. This past year, he had 11 points in 46 games in the SHL, the top Swedish men's league, And that actually puts him at the second best points per game for draft-eligible players with .24, right behind Jonathan Lekkerimäki. So he had himself a pretty nice season. And if we look at NHL.com, they had Marco Kasper at number 13. So again, we're close. We're in the ballpark. So the Winnipeg Jets with the number 14 pick take Marco Kasper. Number 15, the Vancouver Canucks. Well, they got Quinn Hughes on the point. You want to add another dynamic offensive defenseman? How about Denton Mateychuk? Wow, 37% of the vote for the community draft. NHL Central Scouting has him at number 14 amongst North American skaters. Elite Prospects have him as high as number 8. Wow. And so does McKean's. They had him at 14. And if you look at his points, 64 points in 65 games with 51 assists. This kid can put up the numbers, .99 points per game in the entire CHL. Very nice numbers indeed. And if we look at Pronman at The Athletic, he had Denton Mateychuk at 17. So again, we're in the ballpark, but we decided to take him early at number 15, Denton Mateychuk to the Vancouver Canucks. The community has spoken. All right, Sabres. So obviously they've had some pretty good drafting in the last few years. Last year they took Owen Power first overall. And who did we decide to go with this year? Isaac Howard, 40% of the vote. He's going to the Buffalo Sabres. He had 82 points in 60 games this past season for the U.S. National Development Program. And he was second on the team in points per game, 1.33, behind the really good, highly rated prospect, Logan Cooley, who had 1.47 points per game. So the community has spoken. We decided we're going with an offensive forward by the name of Isaac Howard at number 16 to the Buffalo Sabres. What a pickup. All right, next are the Nashville Predators at number 17. The past couple of years, they've drafted some forwards. Last year, it was Svechkov and Zach Leroux. The year before that, they picked up Askarov, who's a really good goalie. And the year before that, Philip Tomasino. So maybe they could use a defenseman, but the community decided, no way, we're going with Danila Yurov, 45% of the vote. Wow, what a pickup. NHL Central Scouting has him at number 7 for international skaters. FC Hockey at 6, Sportsnet at 12, McKean's Hockey at 5. So he has some pretty high rankings. And he put up 36 points in 23 games in the MHL, which is the junior league in Russia. Some pretty decent numbers. And if you look at his points per game amongst draft-eligible players, he's ahead of Kucherov, Panarin, Kaprizov. So he put up some really good numbers in his draft year. And if we look at Pronman at The Athletic, he had Danila Yurov at 20. We went a little bit earlier. TD says if Yurov falls to 17, that's a massive steal. And Cranehook47 says, I think they'd go with Yurov here. So yes, we went with Yurov at 17 to the Nashville Predators. Number 18, the Dallas Stars. And the community decided that we are going to go with Kevin Korchinski, another dynamic defenseman, offensive defenseman. I'd say high risk, high reward on this one. NHL Central Scouting has him at number 7 for North American skaters. FC Hockey has him at 7. Elite Prospects has him at 12. He actually ranked second in points per game amongst all CHL defensemen with .97 points. He had 65 points in 67 games and a crazy 61 assists during that span. Wow. And if we look at McKean's Hockey, they had Kevin Korchinski going to the Dallas Stars at 18, just like we did. So we're spot on in this one. Kevin Korchinski at number 18 to the Dallas Stars. Next are the LA Kings, picking at number 19. And the last couple of years, they've had some pretty nice pickups in Brant Clark last year. Very offensive defenseman. The year before that, the second overall pick, Quentin Byfield, who is going to be a beast in the NHL soon. So who did we go with? Rutger McGroarty. What a pickup. 54% of the vote at number 19. He's in the middle of the pack when it comes to NHL draft rankings. TSN Bob McKenzie has him at number 26. FC Hockey at 12. But he put up some pretty nice numbers, 69 points in 54 games this past season with the National Development Program. And we had him at number 19, and so did Pronman at The Athletic. So we're 2 for 2 amongst some of the analysts. So number 19, Rutger McGroarty to the LA Kings. And the last pick of this video, the Washington Capitals will select at number 20, Filip Mesar from Slovakia. What a pickup, 44% of the vote. This kid has been climbing the ranks lately, and he is ranked number 19 by FC Hockey. Sportsnet had him at 18, and McKeen's Hockey had him at 16. And he played in the men's Slovak League. He's a very young player, 37 games, 16 points. So some pretty good numbers for a 17-year-old in a men's league. And so at number 20, we're going to go with Filip Mesar. Actually, McKeen's Hockey had him as high as number 16 in their mock draft. So we are pretty lucky to get him at number 20 for the Washington Capitals. And again, to Flying Baguette for keeping all the picks in order. We got a nice pick here of all the picks in order. Thanks, Flying Baguette, as always. If you want to join in on the community mock draft, we still have picks 21 to 32 to go. So just hop on, click the button, vote, and it's that easy. And it's been a lot of fun. And please subscribe and like this video to help the channel grow. It would be greatly appreciated. And have a good night and cheers.